this is not durable. If you skid this down the road, this 100% is going to tear a seam, it's going to leak. Alright, so let's examine how the bags themselves stood up to everything. And I didn't have any dust or anything inside anything, and everything on it is still strapped on exactly the same way as I did. So I'll show you how quick it is to get it on and off. These are just some bars that I whipped up, and I put a couple of zip ties there so that the bag couldn't fall down onto the exhaust. You know, I've got to say, in the overall scheme of things, I was very happy with how these bags actually performed. It wasn't necessarily done purely and simply for the cost cutting side of things. So that's that side released. Come around to this side. The other side of it is a definite weight and size saving measure. Like this whole setup, including the third gear bag, weighed about the same as one of the Moscow Moto bags. So unbeknownst to me, interesting. Actually have a bolt has come out of my rack. What am I doing? Why was that so hard? Okay, well, interesting. So, unbeknownst to me, on the road section, since we left, my rack had a bolt come out right there. So I did fall over on this side, so I don't know whether that loosened it or what happened there, but yeah, this is a bit loose up there, and that bolt's not on. I didn't actually even notice that, so that's usually up there. But the bags themselves, which were $180 on Amazon and turned up the day after I ordered them, have done very well. Not dusty inside, and they performed with the addition of one strap on the bags and one strap back here over the top of the third gear bag, better than I expected. So this is the state of the bike with the fuel bladder off and the tool bag in its place for the day trips. So one of the other things that this system was definitely quicker for these are the same bags that I ran before, which you can see are quite a lot bigger, but they actually took quite a lot more to secure them to the bike, and stuck out wider. I got really good economy on the bike because these bags were tucked in. They didn't stick out anywhere near as far, and I was on average using about a litre less than these rig gear bags per fill, you know, which adds up. That's actually quite a lot over the course of a 6,000k trip. So what's the bottom line? I adjusted these literally once. on the trip after everything had settled in. Here they are on the bottom. There's no marks, there's no cuts, nothing's pulled off. Everything is still clipping together, adjusting, tight. So I'll actually give these a steam clean and let you have a look at them cleaned up, and then I'll actually fill them with water and see if they've got any leaks or anything like that. Go over them, see how all the straps and everything are. But I've actually got to give it at least a thumbs up. Now, do I think that this would have coped with an accident, a tip over at speed, hitting a kangaroo and spanging off the road and going through some brush as well as the other two guys' Moscow Moto gear? No, I do not. No. This is either 1 or 2 layers of vinyl. In fact, it feels like 2 layers in most places. Oh yeah, you can see the reinforcing. So 1 layer where you're folding it down, 2 layers for the rest of it. Yeah, everything else seems to be 2 layers or heavy duty. So this top section is actually heavy duty, and this bit that you roll up is light, and then everything else is doubled. Remarkably, the stitching and everything on these, since I've had these under tension the whole time, look to have held up remarkably well, which I thought may have been the weak point of the whole thing. So yeah, like I say, it at least gets 1 thumbs up. Let me do a little bit of a forensics on it after I clean them up, and we'll see if they get 2 thumbs up. But yeah, good stuff. This is the fuel bladder that I took, so I just wrap it so that the pourer stays in place. It's pretty quick to use. I'm sure there's some shots of it in use. And this one is the Jerry Flex, and this one's the 12 litre. I've never put more than 10 litres in it, and that's your pourer, so you get a nice long pour without spilling anything. And yeah, that all worked well. You do have to make sure you've got this nut at the top tightened up for it to seal there. But yeah, that all worked exceptionally well, and we had a great trip, and I didn't have any gear issues. You know, I could access my wet weather gear. I could access when you got to accommodation. It was quick to take on and off. If you got to on the night coming back, we stayed in a cabin, and you just took off the 3rd gear bag off the top, 4 straps, took off the 2 interconnecting bungees, and just carried that inside, left the rest on the bike. It was all tucked in, secure, nice. I did have a bolt failure down here, so obviously that's my issue. I thought that one was tight. Maybe when I fell it loosened it, but yeah, overall good result. Well, I don't know, I mean, everything's exactly where it should be, and yeah, there's a couple of rub marks, but the hard plastic inners, which have got a bit of a soft external covering on them, are still intact. I'll get a rag and wipe these over and give them one final rinse, and then we'll dry them out and have a look. Alright, so now that these are all dried out, having a good look at the stitching and everything, where I actually had the elasticated straps going over and nothing's pulling through. It actually goes into, there's a second layer there. There's a second layer there, and it goes into a doubling plate, and then there's a completely separate skin inside for the waterproofing. Look, I can't see a single thing on it that needs attention. I tied these after I shortened them just to hold them secure. I literally adjusted them once on the trip and got them in a position that was better with the elasticated straps. I mean, everything on them, including the little Velcro tie-down tabs for the end, they're all still working, still doing what they're supposed to do. Everything's still clipping together. They roll up with Velcro there, roll up, secure there, and there, just to see if that's airtight. It seems to be. It's supposed to be watertight and dust proof, not airtight, so I don't know. I'd have to give that a fairly resounding thumbs up. I mean, I was afraid for some of this stitching, you know, that some of these straps were going to pull off and stuff, but everything is all still there, still doing what it's supposed to do. And we had a great trip, and I didn't have any gear issues. You know, I could access my wet weather gear. I could access when you got to accommodation, it was quick to take on and off. If you got to on the night coming back, we stayed in a cabin, and you just took off the third gear bag off the top, 4 straps, took off the 2 interconnecting bungees, and just carried that inside, left the rest on the bike. It was all tucked in, secure, nice. I did have a bolt failure down here, so obviously that's my issue. I thought that one was tight. Maybe when I fell it loosened it, but yeah, overall good result.